Went with Lamar, and I thought he gave us some good minutes. He was just good presence, physicality, and got an offensive rebound, dunk in transition, those small momentum plays that keep the game going. So he did a good job stepping in.
Was he part of the plan for tonight, or was that
No.
something he got thrown into?
Mm-hmm.
And how did you see him respond, being a guy that hasn't really been out there this year?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, those guys probably have the toughest job in the league, never knowing when they're going in, and the 4 or 5 that we have do a tremendous job of coming in, working every single day. And so when it is their time, I trust them, and they're each going to get, the opportunity to do so and bring a different dynamic to the game. And tonight it was Lamar, and I thought he did a good job.
Joe, would you call this kind of like an efficient win? Every time they made a little run, you just answered it every single time, your guys?
I think it's just growth. You're going to constantly be challenged throughout the season, and it's growth. Like you said, it's this 2-game series against a really good team with dynamic scores, just being open-minded to adjustments, managing the game tactically but also emotionally, not getting, whether it's down or not getting caught up in the emotion of the game because they're making tough shots. And I've seen over the last 2 games our guys just kind of stay at a certain level and really work to execute and play together and keep our defensive identity. So it's just a challenge for us to fight for that.
Joe, before the game, you talked about, the team's open-mindedness. You just said it again there. Defensively, you played Drew in that role of free safety, sort of having him play off the ball. You played Kristaps in that matchup a little tonight. How much of that is based on matchups and when it becomes available versus just the talent and the ability of those guys to play that role against anybody?
It's a little bit of both. It's more of an identity. It's something that we want to be versatile and do different things. And so the guys do a good job of buying into it and understanding the reason as to why we do it. So it's kind of more of our identity as to we look to do it as much as we can.
And then offensively, you guys scored a lot off cuts tonight. With a starting lineup as talented as these guys are, all comfortable and often have had the ball in their hands a lot, how much of it is them buying into that role of, okay, I'll get my points in a different way tonight, just throughout the course of the season, doing that more?
It's the most important thing. We always talk about when you acquire a bunch of people like to say, oh, just be yourself. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. You have to be whatever the team needs you to be. And what we're starting to see as we play faster on the offensive end, it's equal opportunity. Guys get into better situations. They get into transition cross matches, and you see those. And so we're finding a good balance of each guy's getting out and running, and when you do that, it gives us more opportunity, more possessions, and so we're seeing that pace. And then the half court, we're doing a good job of executing, and that changes because of the matchups. And we've done a good job of slowing down, exploiting matchups, executing, and we just got to continue that.
They were kind of lingering for most of the night, really, and then that fourth quarter in particular, and then you guys had 3 second chance baskets in a row. What did you see during that stretch that kind of worked well, and what have you thought in general about? It seems like guys are kind of embracing this tenet that obviously is pretty important to the success of the team.
Yeah, just momentum plays, whether it's offensive rebounds, whether it's the play Derek made the game before with a back tip, whether it's a charge, whether it's getting out for a dunk in transition. It's just not being defined by scoring and understanding that there's different ways to affect the game, and we have to be able to do that. So those second chance points, they get the crowd involved, they spark our defense, and they're deflating because teams try to play good defense throughout the shot clock, and we just made winning plays. And so it's that has to be the recipe for success.
I know you said you didn't address being better at home court at all, but you guys are undefeated here. How important is that to the long-term success to kind of pile up wins here when you can and take care of business here? And then how does that kind of fit into what you're looking to do, which is create a team that just no matter where you are, no matter what's going on, you just take care of business and don't.
I'd say that's more important. I'd say that's more important. You got to think 2 years ago we go to the finals without home court advantage. Last year we don't go, and so home court advantage is important. I think from the standpoint of you want to be able to play in the Garden with the fans, be in the city, and have that. I think that's important. At the end of the day, we might not be able to control that, but we have to be able to just play regardless of circumstances. And I think we're starting to kind of learn and figure out how to do that and want to be defined by that.
Hey, Coach. Al had 10 rebounds for the second time in 3 games. How impactful has he been for the team so far this year? He got to get his footing a bit when he got into the starting lineup, KP being out.
Mm-hmm.
How much has he been significant to their success early in the season?
Again, success looks different for each guy each and every night, and for Al tonight, like he got one rebound that I had no idea how he got it. It was over like 3 or 4 people, and he gave a passionate fist bump on the way out, and it's like that type of competitive desire that he brings regardless of his role, minutes, situation. I mean, he goes 8, 10, 12 minutes without touching the ball, and he just plays. So his competitive desire and his willingness to be a great teammate is massive for us. And as a player, he's just really good. Like, goes in the last minute of the game, JB finds him corner 3. So he's in the right spot on both ends of the floor, literally every single possession.
Final couple questions. Joe, you said before you were still trying to figure out your bench a couple weeks ago. How's that process going? Like,
How long ago did I say that?
It was like 2 weeks, maybe.
Oh.
Yeah, like, it wasn't that long ago. Only like a month. Anyway, let's go off to a good start here. I'm trying here, Joe. What's the process like? How far are you into that process? And when you have guys like Fee and Lamar and O'Shea, are you sitting them down and just saying, hey, your turn's going to come, or just stay ready? Like, how does that conversations go when Lamar gets kind of thrown in after a couple of DNPs?
Yeah, so it's Peyton, Sam, Luke, and Al. I'd say, like, when we're 100% healthy, like, that's our 9. They've developed a tremendous identity from the first week of the season where everybody thought they weren't good. They've turned into, like, that's our team, and so they've done a great job. And then the unit behind that, you have to have a lot of conversations with them, because I do think there are games, and I learned this last year, where whether it's back-to-backs and whether there's injuries where, like, they have to play, and, like, we need you to keep the train moving and do everything that you're supposed to do and win. And so that's part of the conversation that I have with them is, you can't underestimate your role, because when it's time to play, you have to execute. And we had those conversations at the beginning of the season. And the way those guys work every day, they're ready for that. And so I had no issue going with Lamar because of what I see him do every day. And the same things for Banton, O'Shea, for Nemi. Make sure I don't forget anybody, for Svi. So I see them do it every single day. And they're going to get, I don't know how many opportunities they're going to get, but I do know they're going to get some. And I feel like last year when we went on that road trip where Al and Rob missed time and Blake had to start 4 games, and he just stepped right in and did it. And so, like, that's the recipe, I think, is regardless of who's playing, guys step in and they're ready to play.
Going back to Al, we're past the point of, like, the honeymoon phase of him taking that move to the bench. Like, it's kind of settled in. It's the reality now. And you see him making these hustle plays now. So how do you feel like, now that it's really his reality that he's coming off the bench for the most part, how he has continued to embrace that and play his hardest?
I mean, I don't know how many games he started, but with KP's injury, and then you feel like he started a few games as well. So I just like how you just know what you're getting every single night, regardless of if he's coming off the bench or if he's starting. You know exactly what you're getting. And he takes being coached. Like, I think he's reinvented himself with his corner crashing. His screening has gotten better, especially versus different coverages. Especially in the last 5 games, it's something that he's really worked on. So just really, to me, it's regardless of the role that he's in, you know exactly what you're getting every day. And, like, our whole team's giving us that, and so I think that's important.
To follow up, he's 37, I think, and he's still reinventing himself, apparently.
Yeah.
I guess, what message does that send to everyone else on the team when a guy at the end of his career is still finding new ways to impact?
So I think it's just an unspoken professionalism that everybody's going to get better. And so he's out there in drills, working on the small details every time, and he wants to get it right. So that kind of starts the ability to coach and the ability to execute and push the guys. Thank you.